Hey guys, what's up? I know it's kind of a late getting going here, but we've had some stuff happening on the sun, guys, and I wanted to pop on here real quick just to give you guys an update on what's happening. Earth is not going to dodge some of these. Matter of fact, we are in a geomagnetic storm right as we speak. I think we're kind of coming out of the geomagnetic storm, but we're definitely we're having weather. I'll just put it to you that way. And guys, and again, I'm sorry I'm here so late, but I'm not sure if I have time in the morning to do this, so that's why I'm doing it now. I hope you guys can forgive me for that. Is what it is, but I don't really I can't control when the sun when the sun does its thing, But with that being said, and I also understand it's the weekend, so we're going to go ahead and just kind of hop into this. I'm trying to share this out real quick because I do think that this is, we're going to see some effects from this. Well, we already are, and we'll get into what those effects are here in just a second. But here we go. So let's just do it. How about that? Let's just get into it. Enough of the small talk, whatever you want to call it here. But if you guys could, please share it out, because this is kind of a late night stream, and it could, I just want everybody as much as possible to see this. Because I haven't been posting more. I'm trying to get posting more regular here, so the more I can get it out there and get the algorithm to kind of catch it, then we'll get back to where we were at before. And of course, my boy Tommy over on the lifeboat, and Marfugal and Rip and everybody else that's always been here to support me. Mark C, there you are, bud. CR user, and everybody else that's here. And you guys are just solid people, and I really do care about what happens and what happens with you guys, and that's why I'm here. So, but anyway, so guys, you can see here this is NOAA, and so what do we got here? Well, we got an R2 radio blackout condition. And that's a radio blackout storm, and I can show you that down here on the absorption, the D region absorption prediction. That's the D region, guys, is a part of our ionosphere. Okay, it's the D region of the ionosphere, and we look at this, and because it does show us, and it helps us. This is one way we measure how big a flare is. It shows what's going on here. And as you can see here, guys, this has been active. Matter of fact, we had what we call a proton event, and what that is, it's just a bombardment of protons. So what is protons to you guys? Well, radiation. That's pretty much all you got to know. I mean, when you want to go get down to just how's it going to affect us? What is this? What is that? And keeping it basic. And I want to address that real quick. That's all I do here, guys. Okay? I am very basic. I cannot explain things at a college level. That's just not me. I don't have any secondary education. I would love to have that knowledge. And there are lots of people out there that do. Lots of good channels out there that do have that level of expertise. They got doctorates and everything else. And that is a credit to them. But just know that I know my limits. Okay? I try not to talk above my limit. And early on in my channel, I didn't succeed very often on that. I thought I knew what I was talking about. I thought I could talk about certain things, and I got a lot of it wrong. And I've since then corrected that. But I want you guys to understand that's what I'm doing here. I'm trying to show you guys at a basic level what space weather is, and give you guys the means to, not be afraid to go look at these tools. Guys, our tax dollars paid for this stuff. That's why we can even access it. So remember that. You're not stupid. I'm not stupid. Okay? So don't think you can't understand this stuff, because you can. That is a promise. The more you look at it, the more you read it, and the more you block out that negative BS that people are stupid, and the mass public needs to have a certain level of whatever to even touch this stuff, the better off you're going to be. And we're here to make people aware. That way, when we do have a big catastrophe or whatever, because that will happen, and I don't talk about it in those terms typically because that's just not what I do. But it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and it is going to happen. And we're overdue for big stuff. And anybody that says that they're not looking at that or seeing that, well, I have to question, because it's not about mainstream against internet this or internet that. It's not about that for me. Attacking other people just doesn't do anything for the community at all. I mean, at all. It does nothing but hurt. That's it. So why not just concentrate on the subject and move forward? So anyway, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. So you got X-ray here is what the deabsorption. And also, one more thing. If I get something wrong, don't feel timid about criticizing and correcting me in the comments. I'm not going to be offended, I promise. No matter who you are. If you've got a doctorate, criticize me. Please, I want to know where I'm wrong. If you don't have a doctorate and you know that I'm wrong, tell me. I'll fix it. I promise. I'll look at it first, and then I'll fix it. Right? I mean, that's what I got to do. I got to understand where I'm wrong. So just telling me I'm wrong ain't going to get anybody anywhere. So, just thought I'd say that real quick. Anyway, guys, these are long duration solar flares. Now, I've talked about long duration solar flares many times before. Okay? What is a long duration solar flare? Well, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's a solar flare that pops off, and it really truly does. It lasts longer than what you would see just in what's being termed like an impulse. Bam, boop, boop, off, boop, boop, off. Matter of fact, Suspicious Observer actually talked about that in a short video, I think, yesterday. And matter of fact, I think he even used this particular example. You see this right here? That's what we call an impulse flare, because it just jumps up and jumps back down. Typically, there's no CMEs with this stuff. So the effects that we get would be radio blackouts from the X-rays that blast us, right? Possibly a proton event with it also. But that is not plasma. Okay? That's a CME. So when we're looking at longer duration, these longer durations of X-ray production lets us know that, hey, that thing is, that sunspot or that area of the sun is really lit up. So you got to watch it to see if it's going to eject plasma. And these did. These longer ones typically do. Okay? Not to mention that these are M-class flares. Now, there's something else here I'm going to touch on here. If this was an X-class flare, say it popped up here into X-class, just real quick and back down. Then we get the X-rays from it, right? Not really a CME involved. That wouldn't be as bad on us as these two back-to-back M-class flares, because both of these, from what I'm seeing right now, is producing CMEs. Okay? So if you could take this time frame right here, and just for the sake of argument, if the ejection is roughly the same speed, if it's heading to us the same speed from each one of these, we've got, in between two hits, 6 hours. Okay? Is that going to be enough time for our magnetic field to fully recover back out and get ready for the second one? Absolutely not. No, it won't. So if you get a double tap like this is what we call this, kind of like a double tap, it's just a phrase we use, and that can actually cause bigger issues than what like a bigger X-class flare would. And yeah, Rip, good comment there. Just imagine how this affects the people on the ISS or anybody out in space. They're out there without all the protection of our magnetic field. They have some of it, but that, I've shown you guys how the magnetosphere and our bow shock will get pushed in, compressed, and sometimes that gets compressed closer to us than what our satellites are. Thank you, Tommy. Appreciate you, brother. And listen, when that happens, anything outside of that is getting blasted with solar weather. Okay? That's why it causes extra drag and everything else. That's not the only reason, but the drag, more dense particles causes drag on these satellites. But then you can get what they call surface charging. You guys, I'm pretty sure most of you guys have seen like the Tom Hanks movie with I think it was Apollo 11. I can't remember which one that was. It wasn't Apollo 8, but I think it was Apollo 11 or something like. I think that's what the movie was. But do you guys remember when they were up there and they were trying to figure out what to do because all their stuff was broken and all this, right? You guys remember the condensation you seen on all the buttons? Well, surface charging is simple, and this is just a really simple way to explain it. It's not water or any kind of moisture, but it makes things want to jump from one to the other as far as electrical, magnetic stuff, okay? So, in other words, these things can have electronic disruptions and cause these satellites to get all jacked up. So, yeah. Yeah, I think they have, that's a good point, Jammer. Really is. He's a fellow mod over on Marfugal. He says, the ISS, he said he thinks it has like a room or an area that they go into when this stuff is happening. I think he's correct. I can't say 100% on that because I have never really researched any of that out, but I would assume that that's what they do. If they know that a solar storm is heading this way, or if they start detecting extra radiation, they probably go into a certain area of the ISS and they stay there until that stuff is passed. Or they would just get sick. Guys, they'd end up with radiation sickness, most likely cancer, all that stuff. Right? So, they're all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Good one, Buddha. Anyway, but we are in a geomagnetic storm too. Well, we were. Now I'm going to show you why I say were. This is a 3-hour increment data plot. Right? And that's a 5 on the KP, which is a G1, very low-level geomagnetic storm. Essentially, all you're going to see from this is maybe some communication disruptions and an increased aurora. That's pretty much what that means. The big stuff usually happens when you start getting up towards G3, G4, and obviously G5. Okay? But notice here, too. You see this? Most of the time when I show you guys this is just the flat line, right? Because not much is happening. This is proton flux. These are protons. It's showing you how much the protons are fluxing. Okay, and the reason I use the word flux is because you can flux up and you can flux down. So if there's a massive drop, you're going to see that there too. Okay, that's why they just don't call it a proton increase or something like that. It's the fluctuation of the level of protons we're seeing here. And what that is, it's radiation. Guys, this came from a CME and a flare on the backside of the sun. This is why I tell people they got to pay attention, even when the stuff is firing off the back. Okay? How does this stuff get here? You guys got to understand that we have a connection to the sun. It's interplanetary magnetic field lines. That's our connection to the sun, right? Well, it's in a spiral. And I think do I have that pulled up? I don't. So let's pull that up real quick, because I use a CME tracker on this just to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, in this last CME that just happened, the big flare, I'll show it to you here in just a second, but this is not it. This is the one that happened back on the 13th, and it's not much of anything. You can barely see it. But anyway, our magnetic connection line is right here. You see this dashed line? The sun's connected to everything in our solar system, including the satellites. This is a Parker spiral, and I'm not going to go into what all that means either. But as you're looking at this, you can see the lines kind of get flicked out and moving around and all that. Well, we had an eruption on the backside of the sun, but notice that these lines, they go out one direction, but they curve back, right? So, if our connection line, this is the sun and this is the earth, right? See how we're connected with this line? If somehow our line was kind of pulled that direction, and then the sun blows a bunch of protons this direction, they travel here magnetically because it has a charge. It'll grab a hold on that line, and that's how it gets back around us. It'll bring it back this way. That's exactly what we've seen. And I've shown you guys this before, but that's what happens. That's what we pay attention. Now, if that had happened over here, if that had ejected out over here, most likely we're not going to see much from that. But when we see it eject over here, even though it's on the backside and being occulted by the sun itself, we can still see effects from it. And that's exactly what we've seen. Okay? So that's just what it is. Now, and again, I'm not showing you guys this model here for any other reason to explain what I just explained. Okay? And hopefully I didn't go through that too fast. I apologize if I didn't. I really wasn't planning on going that depth into that, but, you know, is what it is. But this isn't updated for the latest CMEs. This probably won't be updated either till tomorrow or even possibly Monday or Tuesday, because there's a holiday, you know. So these guys work, and they get vacations and they get holidays off too. So sometimes these things get, if the AI that's helping run these things isn't keeping up or what have you, and a human has to come in here and do this, sometimes it gets put off 2 or 3 days. So just put that out there. But anyway, so let's go back over here. And again, so we got 3 different storm levels, I guess. I don't really want to call this a storm yet because we didn't get to an S1. Okay, it was close, but we didn't get to it. But we did get bombarded with protons. Okay. And then you got flares up here, and then, you know, we can't really see a CME down here. We can see a geomagnetic activity, which is caused by CME. But so let's go ahead, and I want to show you what the sun looks like right now. Look at this. This is just amazing to me. And I know it might not be too impressive to most people, but this sunspot right here is huge. It's a big sunspot. Okay, and notice that this stuff is facing us, and we've been, I guess, quote unquote, lucky that we haven't been getting hit with anything because the sun's been active everywhere. Now, we had a long duration flare from over here, and then this one hasn't flared any long duration or any kind of big ones yet. The bigger one I'm going to show you here in a minute came from here. So yeah, but I wanted to show you that. Also, guys, Aurora, it's just going to be on the uptick. We'll take a look at that here in just a second. But this is the half-hour plots, okay? This is the same thing I've shown you guys before as this. This is a 3-hour plot, but this German agency actually plots it in 30 and 60-minute increments also. You can see how we popped up over a 5, which is G1 storm, for very briefly, then it came back down. That was from like a glancing blow from a CME that was fired off from the sun, okay? That's just where it came from. So, but also, guys, I want you guys to pay attention here. Remember I talked about the VZ? We look for -6. I'm not going to go into detail on that tonight, but see how long we're staying in -6 position right now? There was something else I noticed too when we got hit with that proton event. We had a huge swing in our BZ. At least that's what it looked like to me. Unless my timing was incorrect on that. But I think I was correct on that. I'd have to go look. Matter of fact, let's just change this to a 3-day. Give me 1 second here. Okay, because I seen a big like swing from like -10 to +10, like right here. See this right here? I think that's when we got hit with that proton storm. Let's see here. That was on the 13th at 20. 13th. Yeah, probably close. It might have been caused by that. I don't know. I can't say for certain. But that might have been part of it right there. Okay? I'm not going to claim that because I can't really prove it out. So, but it could have had something to do with it. Let's go back to the 1 day. And you're going to notice that, the BZ is really the thing that moved quite a bit. Also, our density is hanging right around 10, which isn't too impressive, but it's still increased. Our speed is hanging right around 500, I think. Yeah, between 5 and 600. And that is uptick, okay? So let's take a look at the sun here. Well, you know what? Let's just look at it here first. I was going to do something a little different, but let's just do it like this here. This is SDO, okay? it sits out in front of our planet, geosynchronistic orbit. Not going to go into detail what that is. Stays over the same part of our planet as it rotates around, but it's always looking at the sun. Okay, now you guys are going to be able to pick out the two big ones here in just a second. Okay, that was the first one, and here's the second one up here. See that? Notice how long they stay bright. Okay, here we go. And then up here, see that? They stay bright for a significant amount of time. So what do we need to look at? Well, let's try to look at the helium, ionized helium. And that's the 304 angstrom of light. That's what helium shows up as, okay, in that part of the light spectrum. So if we go down here and look at this one, let's see if it throws out a CME. I can tell you it does because I already know it. See that? Okay, and then up here, I'm not sure if that sent out a whole lot of CME action. So let's just wait and watch it. Well, let's just do it this way. I can control that. Man, that's hard to tell if that sent any kind of thing out in space. If it did, it doesn't look like it sent a whole lot of plasma out from what I can tell. But if it did, that would be coming right at us. See how kind of all that energy seems to go across the surface of the sun instead of ejecting out? So I don't know if that's actually coming at us with anything. If it was, I don't think it's a large... I don't really want to say yet. Because it could. But this one down here definitely had a CME with it. So let me back that up. And here we go. There's the flare right here. And now watch the dark shadow. See this? That's the CME. Okay? See how it opens up? Like it's a magnetic connection line and it's snapping it because it's so it's getting shot out. Okay? And there you go with that. Hey Christine, good to see you. Ain't seen you in a minute. Wow, good to see you, girl. Hope you're well. We pray for you all the time. Know that. But see how these longer duration solar flares tend to produce more CMEs? So, you know, you got that. Now, we can look at that in another angstrom real quick. And I will show you what I'm talking about. We'll look at it in the 93 angstrom or 94. This really does show a lot of the brightness when we have eruptions. So notice, guys, the whole sun still is just like wham, 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 wham. And something else that's going on here is you have a northern sunspot interacting with a southern hemisphere sunspot. It's pretty rare. Okay? That's a rare thing to happen. So keep that in mind. And I'm not going to go into why that's rare. The magnetic complexity and things like that are different. And so yeah. Yeah, Smitty, we talk about that quite a bit. That's a good point. The equatorial region of the sun, it actually rotates faster than the poles do. Okay? When we start our sun cycle, our magnetic connection lines are almost completely vertical. Okay? So when the sun does its polarity flip, right? That's the end or beginning of the sun cycle, whatever you want to talk about there. Everything kind of gets reset. Now, you can picture kind of like a bar magnet. I know this is really simple, but these lines are vertical. But because the sun rotates faster at its equatorial regions, it starts to take these vertical magnetic connection lines and bends them like this. Okay? So as time passes, they go from a little bend like that to way like this, right? And then eventually what happens is, as these get pulled around like that, you get little kinks in that line. And that's your sunspot. Now, I know that is a very simplistic thing to really explain a very a very not so simplistic topic. Okay, but that's the best way I can explain it to you, so everybody kind of really just gets the gist of what I'm saying. But that's a fair point. It really is. The equatorial region, and that's another reason why we talk about the north and southern hemisphere when these are interacting with each other, because the polarities are different. Remember, it's a bar magnet, like I said, in very simple terms here. So you have a positive and a negative at any given time on the sun. The only time they switch is every quote-unquote 11-year sun cycle. So when you have something like that interacting with the other opposite sides of magnetism here, it makes it pretty rare. Now, again, it happens. I mean, obviously, that's why they call it rare and not, oh my God, we've never seen this before. So just know that this has happened before, multiple times. It's just a rare thing to see. That's all. Okay? But, yeah. So, anyway, I wanted to show you guys that part of it. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you over to seeds, because this is LASCO C2. Okay? This is the SOHO Observatory. This satellite is about 1 million miles closer to the sun than what we are. And you're going to see some eruptions here. Okay? Notice you're not seeing a whole lot. But if we back up a day, okay, you're seeing a lot of energy here. So, let's go forward a day. If it's got any data here yet. Nope. But let me show you guys something. If you guys ever come over here to seeds and this happens to you and this hasn't updated yet, there's something you can do. Let me show you. You go back to the main SOHO page and you scroll down. See this? This is an event movie that they post here when it detects CMEs. What's that date right there say? This is on the 15th. So we're getting 15th data that is not showing up here yet. Okay? So what I will say is this. That's just another way to look at it, right? So this is from that long duration on the right side of the sun, or it would be what we call the west side, because it's opposite of what an actual map would look like if you're looking at like a road map. When you're looking at the sun, when they say east-west, it's actually reversed than what you would think it would be. Okay? So kind of remember that. So if you guys want to go check this out yourself, please do. And this is why I'm showing this to you. Okay? So you see how this little, it gives you a little movie here. This is something that this site does. It's SOHO. Okay? So let's, we'll just start it and watch it a couple times. It's not showing this one here yet. Okay? But it will. Promise you. So tomorrow morning when everybody gets up, you know, we'll have a lot more to look at. Okay? Now we can go to what you say there, Yeni? There have been predictions about 3 days of darkness happening soon. Yeah, you know, on conversations like that, I usually kind of steer away from that. And the reason why, it's not because I don't have an opinion. It's just because, you know, those kinds of predictions are only right one time, and then every other time they're wrong. Does that make any sense? I mean, in other words, you know, if we're already paying attention, do we really have to like hyper focus on that, on like a specific day or time? No, because we're already paying attention. So instead of always saying something's going to happen and then when it doesn't, and moving the goalpost over and over and over again, let's just not say that and focus on what's in front of us. You know what I mean? But it helps to hear people, hey guys, I think maybe we might have something coming. And that, you know, I agree with those kinds of statements. But I'm talking about people that like set specific days. You know, if you're given like a 3 or 4 month time frame, okay, you know, we got 3 or 4 months to kind of talk about it, and maybe your opinion changes. But there's a lot of people out there that will hang their whole theory on like one day. And then what happens is when that day comes and goes, they're forced to have to figure something else out. And what they do typically is figure something else out and then ignore that they were wrong. That's what I see. So that's why I don't give dates, guys, and I just don't think it's a good practice, because it does scare people. It truly does. Truly, truly does. Now, I'm not talking about like predicting earthquakes and things like that. I'm talking about like really like 3 days of darkness stuff, like what was just asked right there. Okay. So anyway, yeah, that's just my opinion on that, guys, and that's why I do that. So let's get rid of that out of there. This is the Australian model. Shout out to my Aussies. Love my peeps from down under. I think Tommy loves people down there too, if I remember right. Oh goodness. Yeah, lifeboat people will understand what that means. Anyway, let's go back a day here. Let's watch this. This is our bow shock, and you're going to see it bouncing around. You're going to see the compression, and you're going to see it moving. And hey, gal. See it get bent? See how quick that moves back and forth? And these are 1 minute increments. Okay? And you can see the satellite line, right? So every once in a while, you know, we'll get hit, and this bow shock will bounce back way over here. So it exposes any satellite on the day side of the sun to all that energy, and it can affect it. But they have to make adjustments to their satellites and get them back into the right orbit. It just happens because you get dense particles that hang around, and it causes drag on the satellites. So they have to get them back into where they're supposed to be. So yeah. What zone you talking about? I kind of missed that one. "14 more hits from the sun will come before 2023 is over." Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Can I ask you a question though? And please don't take this the wrong way. What if you're wrong? I'm very seriously curious about that. Because what if we get 15, or what if we get 13? That makes that wrong, right? So I mean, what do you do then? Is my question. So, just asking. I mean, I'm not trying to like call anybody out or anything. It's not the purpose of that. I truly want to know. And and the reason why I don't have a problem, asking you that here is because you posted it here. Just curious. So, if you can give me an answer on that, I would love to hear it. You said something about knowing the schedule too. I'd like to know. I'd like to see the schedule. Am I on the schedule? I don't know. Do I have to go work that day? Not sure. Just asking. Just asking. Okay. So. And yeah. And the other thing I would say is this. And everybody that heard you say that, if people take it serious and they're counting on that, and that doesn't happen, and God, this is going to sound so bad, then your credibility is in the crapper. It's gone. And that's another reason why I think people make mistakes. We don't have to know all that. We just got to be aware. That's what we should be telling people. Oh yeah, by all means, face this guy for sure. Yeah, we want to make them aware, but does that specific 14 number really mean anything? If it does, please tell me, because I want to know why 14 and why that makes a big difference. I would have to say that yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Yeah, exactly, Peg. And we got to be prepared. 100% be prepared. And that's what we do, right? That's why we talk about it. We want to be aware. But I just really do. I really kind of shy away from giving specific numbers, because when you are wrong, even though it's coming from a really good place and you think that you're correct, you're only going to be right the one time. And every other time you're wrong. And it really does affect people's credibility and how they listen to you. So just tell them, hey, we got more stuff coming. Be aware. That's kind of what I was saying there. So I'm not trying to, and I'm going to move on too, because I don't want you to feel like I'm not really trying to go that at you. I just, yeah. Oh no, I ain't wasting my time. I truly want to know, because I've always been curious on why people do set a date. I mean, or set those kind of specific numbers. I was just curious on why how can it help is what I'm asking. And that's a true, honest question. And we're going to move on. So if you want to email me, I would love to hear what you got. I really would. I want to know why all that matters. That's all. All right. So as we're going through here, and guys, you guys know I don't usually do that. I maybe I should apologize. I don't really apologize for that. I didn't really attack. I don't know. I'm very curious. Nobody's ever given me a good answer on that. And that's why I ask. People's health. Okay. If you would you please email me? Because I'd really like to have a deeper discussion than what I can give you right here. And because people's health, you can help people's health just by telling them to be aware and leaving it at that. So I'm sure you have some really good reasons. So please email me if you would. I would love to hear it. I'm serious. I'm genuinely asking this. I'm not trying to, because anybody else that I've talked to really gets mad at me when I ask those kinds of questions. I appreciate you answering. I really, truly do. Anyway, this is geoelectric field. This is what we got here. This is geomagnetism. And what happens is geomagnetism interacts with our, with our magnetic field, right? And then you got your geoelectric. Geoelectric is the electric field at the surface. So, let's see here. Sorry guys, I lost my place here. I'm trying to find out exactly where I'm going here. Okay, sorry, here, I found it. All right. Now, our geoelectric field is affected by geomagnetism, stuff from the sun, right? So what do you got here? This is very active, right? And it's not like intense active though. It's just active. If you want intensity, you got to go up here, right? To purple, reds, and all this stuff. And that does happen from time to time. So why do we care about the geoelectric field? Well, this is one of the things that we can look at to help us understand that space weather affects earthquakes. That's why the USGS is teamed up here with NOAA. That's what these models are trying to show us. Trying to show us that fluctuation. Okay? And so as I go through this, you can see the activity. And I explain it in a very simple way because that's just the best way to do it so everybody can understand. Yeah. My brain just went kaboof. Man, it just shut off for a second there. Yeah. So, yeah, our geoelectric field, they teamed up here. Energy in means energy out, basically. I was trying to put a little bit more into that. So, yeah, that's what I would say. Yeah. See, and that's what I'm talking about, Face. I really would like to have a conversation if you could just email me. And Ripper's right. I mean, I agree with everything was said right there. Uh, yeah, Carrington 2025. Yeah, that polar cap absorption event. I don't want to call it nuts, okay? Because let me try to put this a little bit better than what I did, okay? We can go over here to spaceweather.com because I think they actually talked about it. Let's take a look at it. Yeah, here it is. Please, guys, go check out spaceweather.com. These guys are awesome. They do great stuff, and I give them as much credit as I possibly can. They're in my description box. You guys can go down and check them out. There it is in the the live chat. So please, guys, please go check them out here. This is one of those sites that I frequent every day, and Dr. Tony Phillips does a really good job over here. Polar cap event, absorption event, which is exactly what was said there. I can't remember who said it now. Carrington 2025 said it. Okay. And again, I'm not going to say that this is nuts. Okay. And the reason why is because we see this. We do. Yeah, it really does. The polar cap absorption, the PCA. Yeah, and that's because of the way it got here, right? I explained to you guys how that was coming in from the backside of the sun, and it got here through a connection line, right? A magnetic connection line. Well, when that happens, we're connected to the sun all the time, and that line actually does move, right? It's fluid. So it can be connected, to different parts of the sun, to us, all these things, right? And we're talking about magnetics here. We're not talking about physical connection. I've done a lot of research on cosmic rays, Space the Sky. Bunches of research. And that's why during solar maximum, usually cosmic rays are not an issue because the sun's shooting so much geomagnetism at us that cosmic rays have a hard time getting in. So I've done shows upon shows on cosmic rays. I've got a lot, and you're right. Cosmic rays can make you sick. It's radiation, guys. I mean, it hits our atmosphere. It splits the particles, muons, nuons. I mean, guys, it's bad stuff. It passes right through our planet. So there's really not much you can do to protect yourself from those things. There's a few things you can do, but yeah, those things get in, and then geomagnetism actually helps block them. So that's what I would say. So as we're looking at this, you can see how this does on the South Pole. Well, that's because it was a PCA, and those things can vary back and forth as far as our connection line. So please come over here and read this at spaceweather.com. I'm not going to go into too much more than that. And check him out here. They got it right here too. Geomagnetic Storm Watch. Minor G1. What happened? Dr. Phillips hit that right on the head, man. Minor G1. Now, he did state that this is a low probability geomagnetic storm watch, because it was. Very low probability. It was from a partially Earth-directed CME that kind of gave us a glancing blow. Do I know where you're talking about, Herb, you're talking about the magnetic poles, north and south. There's websites out there. Yeah. A bunch of them you can go look at, actually. So, but yeah. Okay. So, I want you guys to notice here too, look at all the sunspots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them right now. And guys, and I have to say that we're in solar maximum now, guys. I mean, anybody that hasn't been a part of the space weather community at all, this would seem very, very odd to you. This would seem like, it is what it is. This would seem like this is way out of the ordinary. And I'll answer that in a minute, you and me. That's a very good question. Remind me here in a few minutes. I'll do that at the end so I don't take up people's time here. I've already squirreled enough. So anyway, you can see how the red is the predicted levels. We've been above it every month, sunspot numbers. Okay, so we're more active than what they thought we were going to be. So what does that mean? Well, it just means we got more activity unless we do get the big one. It gives us some more chance of getting the big one. But like I said a minute ago, when you got more geomagnetism, the sun helps protect us from the sun, and the sun helps protect us from cosmic rays. Anything coming from any place in space. We have to have that balance. I've talked about that a lot. And when that balance, you know, when we see our KP here hanging around 3 or close to it, that's a really good spot to be in. Okay? Because it does give us some protection from those things. But yet we're not into like communication issues with geomagnetic storms. Okay? So that's really where we want to be. And again, if you guys got into this kind of like when I got into it during solar minimum, this stuff would look completely nuts to you. This would look like it was just way crazy. But guys, we have to keep in mind, even though we're seeing rare things and we know that we're overdue for some things, we have to understand that a lot of this stuff was expected. It truly was. I would ask you guys to go back 11, 12 years and look at anything on these graphs, on these models, anything, any of the data. You're going to see very similar things were happening. Okay? Very similar things. And I'm talking in terms of the activity. The amount that we were getting is very similar to what it was during Solar Max last sun cycle. But I do think we're going to overachieve this sun cycle. Does that mean we're going to be wiped off the face? No, it doesn't mean that. Does it not? No, it doesn't mean that either. I can't tell the future. All I can do is show you the data and what I'm seeing. That's why I typically stick with just the data. You know, the conversation I was having there with the cosmic rays, face the sky, it interests me. It really does. I mean, it grabs my interest, and that's, yeah. I'm being honest when I asked her to email me because I want to hear it, you know. But for me, I'm going to show, my goal here on this channel is to show you the space weather, to show you where to go look at it, and hopefully, you guys do, and then go read what it's trying to tell you. You guys are smart. You really are. It really does. So that's what I would say, guys. And you know, however you handle it is how you handle it. You know, some people, you know, they really want to know like really very specific stuff. For me, I just want to be prepared for when that happens. And am I right or wrong? Or are you right or wrong? Well, I don't think either one of us are right or either one of us are wrong. I think we all have to do where we're comfortable. Because at the end of the day, if I'm still on this planet, if I'm not happy, it doesn't matter. It just really doesn't. If I'm so worried about something coming that I can't be happy, I need to walk away from it. That right there is fear. That's fear and concern. And living your life and staying in that space is not good for you or anybody else that you're talking to or even your family. You know, you don't have to have space weather. You don't have to have cosmic rays. You don't have to have CMEs, any of these things to make yourself sick. You can literally make yourself sick by telling yourself you're sick, making yourself believe it. Your mind can make you sick. That is a fact. You can go look at all the data on that. That's there. So what I'm saying is, if you're focusing always on all that, if it doesn't have you in a bad headspace, that's awesome. but it puts me in a bad headspace. So I have to stay away from just focusing on that 100% of the time. And it is really, really important to me to be happy while I'm here. I don't have much time left. You know, I'm almost 50 years old. If I'm lucky, I got 30 years. That's lucky. So think about that, guys. I'm not going to waste it. Now, I'm not going to waste it on nothing but spending time with my family and being happy and trying to help others also. That's why I do the second channel with Tommy over on the Lifeboat, helping people in recovery with addictions. That makes, you know, it helps me, and it helps keep me on the straight and narrow, and it helps me stay happy at the end of the day. It truly does. And I'm sorry I kind of squirreled off the space weather here, but I pretty much showed you all I got as far as the space weather goes. So just know that, guys. I'm not going to go into too much detail on what's going on. Thank you, Fia. I'm good to see you here. You're an awesome person yourself. You know that. You got an awesome man too, just so you know. Your son seems pretty cool too. I haven't talked to him yet, but seems like a cool dude. Christina, you can't tell me how happy I am to see you here tonight. Family, faith, freedom, friends. That's awesome, Deborah. That should be on a t-shirt. Awesome stuff. No fear. There you go. That's cool. That's cool. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know that I've got much more for you. What I'm going to do here is I am going to go over here real quick, go to my channel. I want to show you a couple things here real quick before I get you off here. Space weather, I ain't got nothing else to give you space weather wise. You know, that's pretty much done. But what I will say is this is Tommy and I's second channel. We do help with the addiction recovery. Sorry about that. Should have had that muted. But we help a lot of people over here, and our goal is to keep people from using, because, you know, addiction is a horrible thing right now. We all know about the opiate crisis and all that. I'm not going to go into detail, but guys, if you know anybody in addiction, or if you want to learn more about it, if you're in addiction yourself, please come over here. And you know, it's a family over here. We don't judge you. You come on over, and we're gonna rock it. You know, we're gonna try to do our best to help you. And most of the time, you know, me and Tommy, we just kind of steer it. That's about it. The family in the comment section is yeah, awesome. That's all I can say. There's a link there. Hey, Axe and Nacho, guys, go check their channel out too. Axe, you can always drop your link. You know that, brother. It's good stuff. Ripper, same with you, man. Same with you. But yeah. So, yeah. But that's what I do on the other channel with Tommy, and we've really helped a lot of people, and yeah. Okay, Face Sky, cool. When I say I truly want to hear what you have to say, I really do. I like to learn anything new. Doesn't matter if people might think it's kind of tinfoil hat or whatever. I don't care. I want to hear about it. And, you know, if I end up not agreeing 100% or whatever, I'll let you know that. And if I think you're doing great stuff, I'll let you know that. I'm going to be honest, but one thing you're always going to get from me is I'm not going to be mean. So I appreciate you. I really do. Anybody that wants to share anything that they think is what's going on, I really do think that that's a good thing. And, you know, if people choose not to listen to me or whoever else, that's all good. But I just want people to be aware that something is happening, and something will happen eventually. Maybe I'm not here to see it. I don't know. But all I can tell you is I sleep better at night knowing that I've done the certain things where I live here, that if something was to happen, not even catastrophe stuff, I'm talking like a bad weather event or something like that, me and my family are going to be okay. And that's important to me. And that helps me sleep at night. It really, truly does. So, That's just what it is. I seen that, fee. It's all right. Hey, you know what? There might be a little truth to that, to be honest with you. I fight that. I've always fought that since I was a kid. Thank you for getting that out of there, by the way. That was not very nice. But it is what it is. All right, guys. I am going to go on and get out of here. I do appreciate everybody, that anybody ever comes here and talks to me, watches me, anything. It's so appreciated. And, you know, the Lifeboat, Ripper, Axe, everybody that's in this community. I can't just say everybody all the time. Marth, I'm over on Marfugal. I'm a mod over there, and that's not just because I'm a mod. I'm a friend, and they're good. You know, they're just good friends of mine. Dex and now the mods are too. Gotten to be able to know them, and so yeah. Oh, Tommy said he might pop on live, and I think he was talking about doing some jokes or something live or something. I'm not sure if he's doing that tonight. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like he's going live here in just a few minutes. I got to go take care of a dog, so I won't be able to join him. So, not tonight. But I do love all you guys. Yes, thank you, Fly. Thank you for putting that in there. There's the link again to Lifeboat. Hope you guys go over and check it out. He's going live right now, and please go check him out. And I might stop into the chat real quick, but I can't go live. I can't be in front of my computer is what I'm trying to say. So, anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves. And, yeah. Hope you can still drink this Kool-Aid.